Hey CC families, this is Cycle 1, Week 21, New Grammar. We'll start with timeline, and our first event on the timeline is World War II. So we do WW2 and Franklin D. Roosevelt. Franklin D. Roosevelt is known by his initials a lot of the time, and so our sign is going to be Franklin, what's the sign language, F, D, Roosevelt. Make an R by crossing your fingers. World War II and President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Stalin of the USSR. If you look at the timeline card or a picture of Joseph Stalin, he's got a big mustache. And I joked with my kids this morning. I said, I mustache you a question. Big mustache. For Stalin, that's our sign. Stalin of the USSR. And the Katyn massacre is sort of stabbing underneath your hand, like a secret stab. And then take your 10 fingers and make them lay down because many people died during the Katyn massacre. So Stalin of the USSR and the Katyn massacre. The United Nations formed. We're just going to take middle fingers, make a chain, link those together. The United Nations formed. The Cold War. Just kind of hold yourself and shiver. The Cold War. Gandhi is just a sign language G. So we're going to do our alligator fingers. Gandhi. And our sign for India is the bindi dot. Point to your imaginary bindi dot. Gandhi and India's independence. Cross your hands and open them up. For Jewish state, we're going to stroke our beard like we're a rabbi. Jewish state established. Make an M for Mao. And then take that and turn it into your communist salute. Put your fist out. So Mao and communist victory in China. And if you remember back, our sign for China has always been shoulder, shoulder down to the hip for the type of uniform or clothing that they wore. We've used that for a lot of our different Chinese dynasties in the timeline. So I'll try to sing this with all the hand motions for you. So World War II. And President Franklin D. Roosevelt, Stalin of the USSR and the Katyn massacre. The United Nations formed. The Cold War. Gandhi and India's independence. Jewish state established. Mao and communist victory in China. And so that's our timeline. History is next, and our sentence says, tell me about the exploration of Canada. So we're going to start with a J with your pinky for John Cabot, and then an S with your other hand for Samuel de Champlain. Very French name. And those are our two explorers. So John Cabot and Samuel de Champlain explored Canada and the St. Lawrence River. Creation of Hudson's Bay Company in 1670 eventually led to war between Britain and France. The maple leaf is a symbol of Canada. So that is our sentence about Canada. A couple of the explanations. I actually need to look up the motion that we used for Hudson's Bay Company. I would have done that motion during the sentence. I couldn't remember what we used in our community. I should have looked that up before I did this video. And then eventually led to war. That's that back and forth. Britain is the handshake. France is the letter F, and you close it. The maple leaf is shaped like a hand, and the sign for Canada is just kind of two beats on your chest. So that is history. For math, we are on the associative law. And when you associate, you spend time in a group with somebody or a group of people. So the associative law has to do with how numbers are grouped when you add them together or multiply them. So I have my Legos, and I have a little song that I did not come up with. This was from, I think, Funny Shirl on YouTube. I first learned this, but I've used this song for a few years now in CC. So It goes like this. The associative law for addition states, open parentheses, A plus B, close parentheses, plus C, equals A plus open parentheses, B plus C, close parentheses. And then our law for multiplication is the same idea. The associative law for multiplication states, open parentheses, A times B, close parentheses, times C, equals A times open parentheses, B times C, close parentheses. Let's do English next. So we learned helping and linking verb to be, and we passed a bean bag around the circle and had each person say one of them, and whoever had it on bin, which is our last one, then they were out of the circle, and then we continued on. So we just passed around am, are, is, was, were, be, being, been, so that we just kept chanting through it. So I don't have a song or anything for that, just the repetition. Am, are, is, was, were, be, being, been. For science, we did head, shoulders, knees, and toes for the circles of latitude. So before we started, I pointed out that the circles are at your head and at your toes. The very top and bottom are the circles. At your shoulders and your knees are the tropics, and around your belly is the equator. And so I'm going to try to sing this the way that I intend to. The timing was getting away from me this morning, but it's like head, shoulders, knees, and toes. What are the 5 circles of latitude? 5 circles of latitude are Arctic Circle, Tropic of Cancer, Equator, Tropic of Capricorn, Antarctic Circle. You couldn't see me touching my knees and my toes, but I did. And so that was a way to go through those circles of latitude. You can also do this pointing to it on a globe or however else, but that song is a way to remember it. For fourth declension noun endings, I don't have any with me, but I had a bunch of little mustaches that I printed and cut out because this fourth declension has all of the ooh sounds, and I thought that would be so funny with the mustaches and keep your lips out like an ooh. So I kept saying, like, I must ask you about fourth declension noun endings, and then we would sing us, oos, ooey, ooh, us, oos, ooey, ooh, us, oos, ooey, ooh, singular fourth declension, oos, ibis, ibis, oos, ibis, ibis, oos, ibis, ibis, plural fourth declension. And we tried to keep our mustache on just with our lips and things and got really silly. But I thought if we can associate fourth declension with the ooh, with the mustaches, and then next week I think I might do something with cows, with mooing. So that was our Latin. And then we have geography. So I used a song from CC Happy Mom again. And let me just turn to our Canadian waters. And she did this to the tune I am a CH. I am a CHRISTIAN. So again, the map in the guide is pretty little. We'll see if you can see this. So we're doing Canadian waters. We've got our lakes over here, Hudson Bay. Baffin Bay is in here, and then the Labrador Sea is here. So it goes Canadian waters, the Great Bear Lake. The Great Slave Lake is to the south, and it is long. Hudson Bay, it makes a Q. The Baffin Bay bumps Greenland too. The Labrador Sea, just east of Canada, touching Greenland's icy tip. The Canadian waters, the Great Bear Lake. Great Slave Lake is to the south, and it is long. The Hudson Bay, it makes a Q. The Baffin Bay bumps Greenland too. The Labrador Sea, just east of Canada, touching Greenland's icy tip. And you can look up CC Happy Mom. She does a great job singing those. But I always slow her videos down to 0.75 speed on YouTube so that I can sing them at a speed that's a little more comfortable for me and for my littles. So I think that was all of our subjects, and we will see you next week for week 22. Keep practicing weeks 1 through 6 science and the preposition song for end of year.